Have you ever stopped right in the middle of a chaotic day and wondered where all your time actually went? We often find ourselves caught in the endless rush of busy city streets and crowded avenues. You look at the thousands of people moving so fast around you, and then you carefully look at yourself. I'm sitting here quietly today with a warm cup of tea, just smiling at you and thinking about our shared past. When we were living through our 20s and 30s, we truly felt like completely invincible warriors. We honestly believed we had an absolute and endless supply of days to conquer the world and build our dreams. That is exactly why we buried ourselves deeply in heavy workloads and chased late-night adventures without a single worry. Many relationships easily came and went like passing clouds, while we barely stopped to appreciate the wonderful people beside us. Why did we choose to live with such a blind rush and completely ignore the quiet beauty of the present moment? We unconsciously wasted so much precious human energy on petty arguments over tiny things that did not truly matter at all. We poured our tired souls and our bank accounts into upgrading to a shiny new car or fighting endlessly for a fancy job title. We foolishly thought those material objects and empty status symbols would somehow prove our ultimate worth to the surrounding society. How did we end up trading our most valuable asset for things that eventually just rust and fade away? The simple truth is that we just did not understand the unforgiving speed of time until it was already gone. Then one random morning we wake up and suddenly find ourselves standing right at the heavy milestone of 40 years old. We look back at the incredibly long road behind us and suddenly feel a very deep ache in our chests. We realize with a sudden gasp that our vibrant youth has quietly slipped right through our widely open fingers. The bright nights of endless energy and the loud days of reckless ambition are now just fading memories stored in our minds. We are left standing here today, wondering exactly who we really became while we were so incredibly busy chasing the invisible wind. If you could somehow travel back to those fearless days, what is the one single thing you would deeply wish to tell your younger self? Watch a single dry leaf slowly detach from a heavy branch and fall silently toward the damp forest floor. The dark, gloomy sky above perfectly mirrors the heavy sadness that once completely swallowed my entire existence. That slow and lonely descent perfectly captures exactly how I felt when a sudden storm violently shook my reality. Right in the middle of my early 40s, a serious health scare crashed into my busy world without any warning. I found myself lying alone on a very cold hospital bed, staring at a blank ceiling and feeling completely helpless. Who was I without my endless energy, and what did my expensive possessions matter when my body was completely failing? Where did all my restless ambition go when I suddenly realized I might not have another tomorrow to wake up to? That hospital room was the absolute lowest rock bottom, a truly dark place where every shiny object lost its value. Why had I willingly sacrificed my own physical well-being just to please demanding bosses who would easily replace me? How could I have been so incredibly foolish to trade my precious health for a slightly bigger bank account balance? I was forced to deeply question everything I had previously believed about success and happiness and human purpose. But deep inside that terrifying darkness, something incredibly beautiful and deeply powerful began to slowly wake up within my soul. We human beings often discover our truest and most magnificent inner strength only when we are pushed to the absolute edge. Adversity has a very strange way of stripping away all the fake layers and revealing the solid steel underneath. Instead of completely surrendering to the overwhelming fear, I made a very quiet but incredibly firm promise to myself. I absolutely refused to let this painful chapter become the final ending of my rapidly unfolding life story. I consciously chose to stand up and face the heavy storm because I desperately wanted to regain complete control. This massive wake-up call forced me to brutally examine every single toxic habit I had blindly accumulated over the years. I finally understood that deliberately letting go is not a sign of weakness, but rather a profound act of survival. I gathered all my remaining courage and simply walked away from the demanding job that was slowly draining my spirit. The daily stress and the constant pressure were absolutely not worth the heavy price my physical body was paying. I actively refused to participate in the meaningless corporate rat race that only rewards endless and blind consumption. Then I began the deeply painful but absolutely necessary process of cleaning out the crowded closet of my personal relationships. I gently but firmly stepped away from those specific people who constantly brought dark clouds and heavy drama into my days. There is simply no room for toxic energy when you are fighting so incredibly hard just to heal your own broken self. By bravely releasing those incredibly heavy emotional weights, I suddenly created a vast open space for pure peace. I traded the loud, exhausting chaos of the modern world for the silent, comforting embrace of these quiet, ancient trees. We must aggressively protect our inner peace because it is the very foundation for a genuinely meaningful human existence. When you finally drop all the heavy expectations, you will discover a brilliant light shining right inside your own chest. Are you finally ready to bravely release the things that hurt you and completely reclaim the peaceful life you truly deserve? What happens to your perspective when you finally decide to unlock the heavy doors of your own self-imposed prison? Imagine stepping barefoot onto a vast expanse of wet green grass and letting the golden morning sun completely warm your face. Where did we ever get the foolish idea that gathering piles of expensive objects would magically bring us genuine peace? We spend our precious days blindly buying things we do not actually need, and then we desperately buy heavy iron locks to protect them. How can a person truly feel safe when they are constantly worried about losing their physical possessions to invisible thieves? Let us completely abandon the ridiculous urge to constantly measure our personal success by the heavy weight of our bank accounts. True happiness simply does not exist inside a heavily guarded house filled with expensive furniture and cold stone walls. Real joy is the absolute freedom of a light soul that carries absolutely nothing but pure gratitude and beautiful memories. Why do we stubbornly refuse to walk out into the magnificent world that patiently waits right outside our front door? I want to show you exactly how walking without a destination can completely heal a terribly broken and exhausted human mind. When you consciously choose to slow down, you suddenly discover a deeply vibrant and breathtaking reality completely surrounding you. Who could possibly ignore the profound miracle of a single tiny flower slowly opening its delicate petals to the vast morning sky? I want you to close your eyes right now and genuinely feel the gentle breeze completely washing away your silent daily anxieties. This beautiful blue planet is incredibly vast and generously offers us 10,000 different reasons to simply smile every single day. How much of this magnificent earth have you completely missed because you were staring at a tiny glowing screen inside a dark room? Who told you that you must have everything perfectly figured out before you are allowed to simply enjoy a beautiful, quiet sunset? I clearly remember telling myself over 100 different times that I would finally start truly living my best life tomorrow. Tomorrow is the most dangerous and deceptive lie that our terrified minds constantly use to justify our endless daily hesitation. Why do we always allow the invisible ghost of fear to loudly dictate the completely unwritten chapters of our very short lives? It is incredibly easy to construct 1,000 different excuses about lacking enough money or constantly waiting for the absolute perfect moment. The ultimate truth is that the perfect moment is a complete illusion created by a human mind that is deeply afraid of failure. I completely destroyed that solid wall of heavy hesitation by simply grabbing a small backpack and boldly stepping out into the great unknown. You're entirely free to reinvent your entire existence at any given moment because your past choices absolutely do not define your bright future. You do not need an elaborate 10-year plan to begin doing that one specific thing your tired heart has been deeply craving. What exactly are we waiting for when the beautiful present moment is the only real thing we truly possess? We must aggressively push past the loud internal doubts and bravely take that very first step toward our own grand personal adventure. We must learn to deeply breathe in the fresh air and simply appreciate the pure miracle of being alive right here, right now. When was the absolute last time you allowed yourself to be a deeply curious beginner, exploring a completely unfamiliar and wonderful place, if the perfect tomorrow you keep safely waiting for never actually arrives? What magnificent dream will you boldly start chasing today? When was the last time you truly looked into the eyes of someone you love and realized how fragile this beautiful existence actually is? Picture a warm room filled with the comforting laughter of your family and the tight embrace of people who genuinely care about your soul. We often take these beautiful ordinary moments completely for granted until the heavy hand of time suddenly takes them away from us. As we gather more gray hairs and gracefully step into our later years, we inevitably witness the painful departure of our precious loved ones. Why does it take the heartbreaking reality of death to finally teach us the immense and unyielding value of human life? Every empty chair at the dinner table serves as a silent reminder that our breathing moments are incredibly limited and profoundly sacred. We must consciously choose to stop building heavy emotional walls and start building wide, sturdy bridges toward the people wandering around us. There's absolutely no medicine on this entire earth that heals a broken spirit quite like the pure act of freely giving your love. How much longer will you allow your stubborn pride to prevent you from experiencing the deep warmth of true human connection? It is completely necessary to swallow your fragile ego and bravely offer a sincere apology to someone you might have deeply hurt long ago. I challenge you to pick up the phone right now and finally call that old friend you have not spoken to in 30 years. You might be absolutely amazed by the incredible joy that floods your chest when you hear a familiar voice from your distant youth. Why are we so terribly afraid of showing vulnerability when our shared human struggles are exactly what deeply connect us to one another? Sharing our painful scars and our quiet victories is the most powerful way to throw a lifeline to someone drowning in a dark ocean. That is exactly why I decided to sit in front of this camera and openly pour my naked heart out to all of you. By bravely sharing my own journey of falling down and standing back up, I deeply hope to offer a steady anchor for your tired soul. When we openly speak our truth, we secretly give other struggling people the beautiful permission to completely embrace their own messy lives. A simple, warm smile, freely given to a complete stranger on a busy sidewalk, can entirely change the trajectory of their terrible day. We are all just fragile travelers walking down the exact same dusty road, desperately looking for a tiny spark of light in the darkness. If you knew today was your absolute last chance to spread pure love into this world, who would you choose to hold tightly right now? Have you finally realized that our fragile human life absolutely does not come with a magical rewind button? The heavy past is already burned into gray ashes, and the distant future is a mystery that has completely not yet arrived. Why do we constantly forget that our single most valuable and beautiful asset is happening right exactly in this present second? I want you to always keep exploring this vast world and maintain a fiercely positive spirit no matter what happens. Please continue loving life deeply and keep moving forward with a strong and unbreakable heart. We absolutely must stop wasting our precious remaining days feeding that invisible ghost of useless fear. You must always remember to generously offer pure kindness and gentle love to your own soul and to every single person you gracefully meet. I am so incredibly grateful that you chose to spend your valuable time sharing this quiet healing space with me today. I will eagerly wait right here to gently welcome you back for our next wonderful shared journey of discovery. What magnificent new chapter will you bravely choose to write for yourself when the bright sun rises tomorrow morning?